that saying the most simplest things can be the most effective. You can bring forth a powerful message. And I'm talking about that, you guys, because I wanted to talk to you all, because many of you guys here, if you're listening to this, whether you're listening to it live while I'm here, you're going to be listening to it as a replay. You're on social media. You're on the social media platform of Facebook. As I mentioned before, there are 4.5 billion people around the world. You can reach people in Africa, Australia, any continent, wherever. You can reach people by simply utilizing these platforms. But I want to talk a few things about it because I want it to work for you. I want it to be as effective as possible so you're able to reach your people. Reach your tribe, people like that. And so today, I wanted to just simply talk about how you can create an effective tagline. All right, and so I wanted to share those things with you. But in order to do that, we talk about brands, we talk about branding. But first and foremost, you have to be willing to develop your brand. And as we said before, you're not a brand until people say you're a brand. What do people recognize you as? And in that, you want to be able to begin to develop an effective tagline, you all. So in order to do that, you want to ask yourself these three questions. And I'm doing this because I'm looking at people's platforms. I do this to my students. But I'm looking at people's platforms and I'm like, okay, you got your name, or you got your name in the wrong place on the platform, and then you got yourself just as a coach. Well, what kind of coach? You got yourself as an entrepreneur. Well, what kind of entrepreneur? What do you want to say on your platforms? Now, most people now are in the business of literally having a side hustle. You're looking to do what you love to do, what you're passionate about, and monetize it, doing it that way. And so to do that effectively, you want to make sure that you have an effective tagline. So the people who see it know, oh, she's talking to me. Oh, he's talking to me. Oh, no, they're not talking to me. All right. And that is how you begin to develop your right content. By simply looking at your tagline. I'm giving you all some nuggets here, all right? And so you want to look at these three things. You want to ask yourselves these three questions in the process, and it's going to help you out a lot, all right? One question you want to ask yourself, you all, is this. First question, who's your brand's target audience? Is it the professional woman who's a mother? Is it a basketball player? Is it a football player? Is it a family that takes in adopted, foster family, takes in foster kids? Are you talking to teen influencers? Are you talking to sports people, golf players? You want to be able to target them. So ask yourself this one question: who is your brand's target audience? All right, that's some homework for you. Next question I have for you is you want to ask yourself, what value does my brand bring? What value does your brand bring to the professional mother, professional woman who has children? What can you bring? What skills, what training, what knowledge, what products do you have for them that they can utilize? So you want to ask yourself that part. What value does my brand bring? All right. This is the part that makes you stand apart, because we already know there are people out here doing the same thing you're doing, but it's going to be in your messaging, how you relate and how you're most relatable. All right. And then the third question you want to ask yourself, you guys, is how do you make it possible? How do you make it possible? How do you create? How do you develop? How do you develop a training program? How do you have an e-commerce store where people can literally come in and purchase your product? Do you have a membership? Do you have a community where people can come in and obtain information and knowledge? What is that thing? And so you want to ask yourself those three questions. And that is a part of, just simple part of you starting to develop an effective tagline for your social media platforms. Now, let me tell you this. If you're just on here, you're just connecting to family and friends, this video is not for you. But this group is focused in on purposeful creatives. That means you are out here and you are creating, you are doing what you do, you are developing products, you have a service, you have something that you've created that you're able to give out to people. All right. And so for instance, then even if you looked at my platforms or my Instagram page or even my website, latanyawashington.com, or the customer culture, you'll see even the list tour, everyone has a tagline. So as it comes to the brand or Latanya Washington, or even as you see on my profiles, you'll see it'll say guiding or entrepreneurs are helping small businesses regain relevance in customer relations for greater interaction. That's my tagline. So therefore, I already know the people who come at me will be small business owners. Those are the only people that I want to speak to. I want to speak to entrepreneurs. And so I'm telling you, I'm helping small businesses regain relevance in customer relations for greater interaction. Because consumers go through a journey. They also have triggers. But you also want to get to the place as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, where you have consistent customers coming through the door. All right? And so in order to have that, you want to put yourself out there in the marketplace as allowing people to know exactly who you are speaking to. And that way you're then able to develop your content that will fit your tagline. We develop, and I teach this, of course you guys know, I'm a professor, so I teach this. We develop pillars. We develop topics of discussion. We develop topics that we know that is within our industry and that fits within that niche. And then, this is what we want to talk. Could be, I love to travel. I'm a travel enthusiast, or I help people in the travel industry. Well, then, okay, we could talk about travel. We're connecting to that audience. We're connecting to the people who love to travel. And then under another topic of discussion, as we're developing content, because that is content that we're developing. It could be about, okay, if you're looking to travel to Mexico, make sure that you have certain items to wear, or sharing more information about Mexico. It could be that you're telling them about the different attractions that are in Mexico. And so it's the little things, how to travel light, how to pack light. And so it's the things, that's how you begin to develop your content, you guys. And I know I want to make sure that you guys understand these things, because you're trying to reach an audience. And in order to reach that audience, you have to be relatable. And so make it easy on yourself. And so, if this is what it is that you love to do, it won't be so difficult. I do what I love to do because I've had so many experiences to where, and I know you guys have had the same thing, where it's either been, I'm traveling on the airlines and I get a bad stewardess, or you're trying to book a flight and bad customer service or a bad experience. We've all experienced this. And I put myself in the place, instead of complaining about it, I'm going to do something about it. And so my whole goal has been to, the customer culture is training bigger companies that have employees. And so I go in and I train them so they develop better practices when they connect to their audience. You see, it rolls off the tongue when you're passionate about what it is that you do, and it is my why, because I don't want to see people being neglected. I don't want to see people taken advantage of. I want to see people being taken care of. And so therefore, I recognize the only way for it to truly happen, especially within organizations, is they have to be trained. And what better time than ever than now, because as we see, especially that we've dealt with as we call the Great Resignation, people quit their jobs. And so now they're just finding people to fill those positions that have never been trained on dealing with people or customer relations. They're just going in for the money and not realizing, the big company not realizing, you can lose people because of your bad service. I still remember I went to a McDonald's one day and I had such bad service, I will never ever go to that McDonald's again. Did I let corporate know? I sure did. But I'll never go to that McDonald's again. So can you imagine that happening to you? But that's the time and age that we live in. And so you want to make sure that you understand how to do all of, how to develop, how to be relatable, how to be passionate in doing what it is that you do. We are creatives, whether a content creator, you know, you're developing that service, you got that product. This is a community of content creators. And in order to become more relatable to your audience, in order for people to know what it is that you do and what you're bringing to the table, and you find and you're connecting to your target audience, you gotta let them know in your tagline. Otherwise, people are simply clueless and they move on. All right? You're not a brand until people say you're a brand. Whatever message you're putting out in the marketplace, that's how I know that's where we know you by. Period. All right? And so I wanted to share that with you guys here in this community. And I hope you gained great knowledge from it, because I look all the time and I'm looking at platforms and I'm looking at people's profiles and I'm like, you need to fix that. You want to correct that. You want to be able to use the proper keywords, so people know what it is that you bring, and that too, you want to be able to, you know, people Google you. They want to, you know, if they Google a fashionista in California, you want to be able to pop up. That's what happens when we utilize proper keywords and we utilize all of those things. And so that's what I've kind of been focused in more and more on, because more and more of us are on these platforms for business. We're trying to do business here. We're connecting, and as you see, these platforms consistently change. Facebook now has added in to where you can connect you can put a link to your post if you have a Facebook page. It's amazing, but we already knew just by reading up and doing the research that Facebook was going to start coming up, because Instagram, even though Meta, quote unquote, Meta, Facebook, you know, they own Instagram. Instagram is by far bypassing Facebook. And so Facebook had to step up their game. And so even looked at LinkedIn. You know, you just need to know where you want to be, and look at your numbers, look at your data, not always your likes, but you want to look at your insights and your impressions. And did anybody click and go onto your website or your landing page, one of those pages, or did they convert? You know, and so that's where many of you could be. The goal is, all right, I want conversions, I want sales. So you have to be honest with yourself. What is it that you want? And then you got to work the work, because as we say, it's work. We work, you all, and so it's a wonderful thing because we're doing what we love to do. All right. And I want you to be comfortable, and I want you to step out and do that thing that you know you're called to, and do that thing that you know that you love to do and you desire to do, and you know that you have something in your hand that people can gain knowledge from. They can be entertained or be inspired. You just got to know what you bring to that table, and you got to work. You got to work. You got to work the heck out of it. All right. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.